Can you hear us? Can you see us? Is everything working as intended?
Looks like it.
Certainly does look like it. Hi guys, how's it going everyone? So good to see you all. Right on. I hope the sound is good. Good to see you guys. It's what a month, huh? Wow, what a blast. What a blast.
Say that.
Can you hear us better now? Can you hear me better now? We can't hear anything. Why is the audio always trash? I don't know.
Is the audio always trash? Wasn't aware.
I wasn't aware either. Talk to them, Frederick.
but I have nothing to say.
Well, audio is fine. Scrubs. What do you mean you have nothing to say? Okay, so it's nice to see you. What a month! Wow, jeez. Thank you all so much for everything. This has been the most fun month I've had in a long good while with him.
Quite a while indeed.
Quite a while indeed. It's been so much fun. It's been almost exactly a month now.
Well, it's been exactly a month.
Exactly a month. The month of February has come and gone, and on the 1st of February, as most of you I'm sure are aware, we launched World 11 of Haven and Hearth. Seriously? Can't you hear me? Can't hear shit, they tell me.
Okay.
What would be the appropriate way to fix that? Can I adjust something here maybe?
Oh.
Cool beard, sir. You're welcome. Thank you. Pull it up a little here. Can you hear me better now? Is that better? Hey, yeah. We'll try that for a while. Okay. Some people can hear me, some people can't. Yeah. Maybe. Hello, the sound is fine. They're just deaf. Okay, that's good. Awesome. What a month it has been. It has been so much fun. I think this is, it's fair to say that this has been the best received World we have ever released.
Certainly in terms of statistics, at least.
Certainly in terms of statistics. We've really, I felt, hit it out of the park in terms of, players online and in terms of, the financials and everything. This has been a really, really good month. And without getting too much into detail, I can tell you that financially this has been the best month that Haven has ever had.
Yep.
So we have beat even the release month of 2015, which was our previous record.
Indeed.
And this is also new records in terms of, or at least new official records in terms of
users online.
Concurrent players.
Users. I think the jury is still a bit out on that, but I think in terms of cumulative users in 2015 might still have been better.
Right.
But I actually haven't checked in a while. Because
we've lost some data from 2015 as well, I think.
I still have a screenshot of it.
Pro.
Yep.
That is pretty awesome.
I happen to still have that tab open in the browser when I lost the data, so I screenshot it.
You snapshotted it. That's great.
Yep.
So on that note, I'm going to reveal that we are very, very close to a couple of numerologically significant financial levels for ourselves. So if you have some monies to spare us tonight, by all means.
Please don't think of us.
By all means, don't think of us. Give it to starving children in Africa. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to push the patch for this week's patch.
All right.
So, and this is going to be a small one on account of the fact that we did a server move and various other things happened this week, so it's going to be a fairly small patch. Apologies for that, but that happens. So, how did you feel about the server move, Frederick? We moved servers. We upgraded servers.
Yeah, it's been interesting for sure. As I'm sure everyone has noticed, the worst lag is gone, but there's some new kind of lag instead to take its place.
Right on.
And it doesn't seem at all as hideous as it used to be, though.
Right
but
on.
I am trying to debug it.
Right on.
It's a bit difficult to find the root cause yet, though.
Right on. What are your any inroads into the problem at all?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I have data that I'm looking at. I'm just still in the process of tracing down what it actually means.
Right on. Right on.
Quite simply.
What if you were to speculate? What could be the potential reasons? Is the disc broken? Is what's up?
Well, I mean, I'm really not sure. And one possible theory is that one of the NVMe drives in the server is wonky. But I also think that that explanation seems a bit naive.
Right on.
And I guess in particular, I just don't want to be that guy calling the hosting company up to say that you gave us a broken disk and then they replace it and it's all still the same.
Right on. Don't want to be that guy.
Don't want to be that guy.
I can see why you wouldn't want to be that guy.
But I mean, it may very well just be some kind of software configuration issue.
Right on.
I'm really not sure yet. I mean, I'm able to follow some of the what it looks like is that the one of the disks is showing kind of periods where it just looks like it's locked up and not serving requests.
The disk has its period.
That's funny.
Right on.
For a few seconds, it just locks up.
Right.
But the thing is, what I'm looking at is not necessarily the disk's hardware queue of IO requests, but rather the software queue. So it could be some other kind of software congestion causing that.
Right on.
And I'm looking at the traces of the IO queue and seeing the requests that are taking time, but they're spending time in weird states.
Right on.
That I can't quite explain.
But the important takeaway there is that you're very much on the problem, right?
Yeah, I just hope I can find the cause of it.
Yep. Sounds good. Should we bring her down and up again?
Yeah, I guess so.
Right on. Feel free to wall the little users and maybe include a note that we're streaming live at twitch.tv/Bruderbone. If you like it. Kangrim says, hello, are you guys planning to change drinks to be a little more interesting since the World 11 changes, like using alcohol on wounds and stuff?
That seems like a different thing than drinks, though.
Yeah. Exactly.
not that I necessarily hate that. I'm not sure if distilled spirits is a thing for Haven, but it could be.
I think it should be.
Yeah, arguably perhaps.
Sabinata says drinks are bad. Right on.
How so?
Right on. How so? Yeah, that's a good question. Why are they bad? Not relevant enough. Are you aware of tea satiation reduction? Not sure I am. Feel free to inform me. Zappeltech says, any chance we will have smoked food, smoked meat every day? Yes, probably, most likely. Will you make docs not be able to be hand bashed? That's probably a good idea. We should probably look at that, right? Docs might be a bit too vulnerable.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to think about that. I'm really not sure what to think about that. I mean, it's the question what the alternative would be.
I'm gonna make a little note there.
I think we've been speaking about this several times previously.
Docs too vulnerable. I can't even spell that word, I think. Right on. So you've walled the people?
Yep.
Right on. Awesome. We got 207 nerds watching. It's pretty good. Pretty awesome.
Cool.
Herp Derp says, please make lingonberries plantable in garden pots. I'm actually thinking, like, remove things from garden pots, if anything. There were several, I think, significant, meaningful complaints that that we've made too many things plantable in garden pots.
Arguably, but perhaps on the other hand, lingonberries are the kinds of thing that should be plantable in them. I mean, arguably it's the special kind of things like bluebells that shouldn't be.
Sure, but that bluebells were like a particular thing. Like that was a credo reward. So.
Oh right, that's true. It's
not. They're not generically plantable.
That's true.
Could you explain the lags we've been experiencing since World 11? Well, we had one kind of lag, and now we switched servers, so now we have another kind of lag.
Yep.
So there have been two types of lag.
I mean, I did just explain it.
Did you change? Yeah, he just had a long rant on that. So the lag seems to have started up more. That's why I'm wondering if cave decay may be one of the causes. I would doubt that.
That would not be the case.
That would not be the case. I have 3,102 unread emails. That's probably true. That is true. That's because I get an email every time a new Hearthling registers. So most of those are Haven and Hearth registration mails.
How do they know, though?
There's a little link right up there.
Oh, I see.
So yeah. So how's the ETA on the server reboot?
Yeah, I didn't actually check when I started the wall, so I can't tell you.
Zented69 says, can you tell us all things besides old Fate stuff and glimmers that have server pool? No. Though you can probably find out if you think a little bit about it. Thoughts on quest givers appearing across the ocean makes it impossible to complete some quests without a Knar. Yeah, I noticed that became somewhat retarded for Nomad at least.
Yeah, I can imagine that being a bit of something. Not sure what to think about that, honestly.
Me neither. Like maybe Nomad should be restricted to the continent you're on, and maybe the continents should be flagged for nomadability.
Or something.
Or something. You didn't like that solution, at least.
Well, I mean, I'm not sure how I would do that. Well, at least not without making a new world.
I don't. Yeah, because it's probably pretty retarded that you have to like build a Knar to sail across the ocean blue when you're supposed to be like a horseback nomad.
Yeah, sure, I can see that being the case. Not sure what to do about it though.
One memer says Symbol sucks so badly it isn't worth making at the moment, Bruderbonen. Well, it's a good thing we're pushing this patch then. We're gonna change that. We're way ahead of you, sir. Freya Mistwalker says, thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you for playing.
How do you say thank you in Japanese? Arigato.
Arigato.
Arigato. What's domo?
It's kind of thank you also.
Okay. So I could say domo.
Domo arigato is
Domo.
also a
Right.
phrase.
Should I do the little bow? Is that
Sure,
cultural
honestly.
Appropriation?
Not sure, honestly. Also not sure if that's not more of a Chinese thing.
I don't know. Maybe it is. When are we gonna fix quest give? Oh man! Oh my! Oh lord! The chat is going wild tonight. We have 396 people watching. It's a
the server is shutting down at least.
All right, I'm gonna post this.
Okay.
Change log here.
Yep.
Posting the change log. So the forums are a lot faster at least.
Yeah, I have noticed that.
That is an observation I would like to make. Sticking that. Man, this is like having a Rolls Royce of a forum.
Compared to previously, for sure.
Biz says stockpiles for oysters, please.
What?
Stockpiles for oysters, please.
Stockpiles for everything in capacity, that's what I know.
Got you covered, bro.
No. Shouldn't you at least then replace the mussel stockpile, some stockpile with the clam stockpile or something?
Probably I should. Do you intend to implement the usage of salt water in some way? Was the question, and I would say the answer would probably be yes. I think we'd have to look a little bit at what we're doing.
No specific plans, though, I'd say.
Yeah, no specific plans, but I mean, probably we'd want to do something with salt water, but we don't have any real concrete plans. So, right on. You haven't pushed the resources yet.
No, you're right. I should do that.
Kids want vandalism for destroying quest givers. I don't really like that idea, but maybe we'll
I don't like that idea either.
Maybe we could be forced into it at some point, but I don't like it. Zunzon says, do you have any plans for Credo trees reworking? We talked about it the other night, but I'm not sure we came to any definite.
What?
Credo tree rework.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, I've had one vague idea that I've been wanting to do with Credos for quite a while now, namely that, I mean, I don't know exactly what it is I'd like to do, but I'd like Credos to be able to have multiple alternate requirements.
Right on.
So that you don't necessarily have to have a strict set of Credos in order to get something else, but rather there could be several ways through the Credo tree to a certain Credo. But on the other hand, I don't exactly know what dependencies it is that I'd like to change either.
Right. I'm just gonna post this shizit on Facebook, y'all. Post the changelog right up. Didn't actually inform them that we were live streaming, so I might as well do that as well. Update on the new boat? No, haven't made it yet. Haven't really. I heard some people didn't want the new boat. Some people were like, a new boat devalues Knars too much. That was an argument I heard.
Okay.
So they didn't like that. That was an argument. Like Knars are good. It's a good thing that they're expensive.
But if we were to make a new boat, then it's as expensive.
Well, I mean, I think my idea was to make something in betweenish, something
okay.
in between rowboat and Knar.
Okay.
But one thing that we really ought to do is the siege boat.
Yeah, that has been an idea for sure. Not exactly sure what that idea is though. And it may well be a thing for when we have object control objects too, so that you could have kind of a boat that you could roll the catapult onto or something.
That would be cool. I was thinking like a ballista up front of the boat.
Okay, I see. Well, that's an idea.
It would actually be kind of cool if you could like have two shooting modes on it, like one where you anchor the boat so that you can shoot on like stationary targets on forts and stuff, and one where you can just quick fire the boat at other boats, so you can have like maneuver, combat shooting at each other, from the boats. That could be fun.
Certainly.
I think that could be more fun boat combat than the kind of retarded boat combat we have now.
For sure, and we never actually did look at that when we shouldn't we have done that and done something about that with the reset? Wasn't that an idea that we never acted upon?
Boat combat?
Indeed.
Yeah, but I think our idea was just to remove the ability for players on a Knar to fight, right?
Oh yeah, certainly. I don't think it was anything particularly advanced to sign that.
But it would be fun to have better boat combat. But maybe that's dependent on object control objects being a thing.
Yeah, well, depends on what exactly you want to do, I guess.
I mean, ideally, I think the real fun thing would be if you could board the ships and actually go into manly hand-to-hand combat and stuff. If you could.
Oh yeah, certainly, of
if
course.
We had
and
object
certainly,
objects.
definitely, and that would of course require object controlled objects.
Yeah.
But yes, that would obviously be ideal if you could actually walk around on the boats and fight and board other ships and stuff.
Yep.
That is certainly one of the things I would like to accomplish with object controlled objects.
Yep. So if anyone asked, how is armor repairing coming along? That would be a good thing to add. I think armor repair. I'll make a note of that. I've been thinking about that myself. Because the leather armor is made of butter. It's made of wet,
sure, but on the other
cardboard.
hand, isn't that just an issue about how much HP more the armor has?
Yeah, sure. Or I could be allowed to repair it. That would be fun too.
I guess perhaps. You mean like it could work like kind of like silver polishing or something?
That would be one idea. I was thinking like you'd make some sort of repair kit and right click the armor.
I mean, it seems weird to be able to reuse the same armor forever, doesn't it?
Well, you could lower the hard HP on the armor.
Yeah, exactly. But that's kind of what I meant.
Right, because that's how polished the silver works.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly. Sure. Sure.
I think. Not sure it actually works like that though, but.
Yeah, no, yeah, it
Sure
does.
it
It
does,
does. Yeah, no, it does. Yeah, one memer suggested the same thing. Polish the silver type effect for armor repair. Server going wild.
Let's see.
So let's see. Please be careful with siege boats. I don't want coastal cities getting the shaft. Well, I mean, are they getting more or less shaft than they would otherwise? Does it change anything really?
And not that I can see, not that I can obviously see.
Well,
I mean, I guess it depends on what they, on what they imagine within that siege boats mean. I mean, obviously it couldn't just mean that you could roll up any time and start sieging.
You need to lean in more so they can see your
Yeah, I know,
beautiful
but I'm
face.
trying to restart the server also.
You wouldn't want them missing out on. Your beautiful face there. Let's see.
So I'm ready to start the server, or yeah. Right.
Go for it.
I'm
Go
going
for it.
Running that.
Awesome. We're up. We're live. So let's go through the patch notes here real quick. Server restart while fighting mammoth. Nice update though. So Cozy is complaining that the first quest on a new character never comes, and I've had other complaints to that effect, so I'm not sure what's up with that.
Yes, but on the other hand, the other complaint you had that we looked at the.
Yeah, but I've had other complaints beside that complaint. So I don't. So what we added were flagpoles. You can craft a flag, fly the custom graphics of your choice, let the wind carry your message far and wide. That's one of the things you can. Hey boys, is Ancient Root not healing Wretched Gore anymore? It certainly does.
It heals everything just
heals everything just as it always has. Are you guys gonna play some of the game? I'd like to see where your base is.
That's funny.
You're funny, sir. I killed you last. Thoughts on the shield change? Settlements just build more walls to compensate. I think it's a bit too early to say. Honestly, I don't really know. How it's gonna play out.
I think, yeah. I mean, I think we know some of the weaknesses of it for sure.
I mean, when we went back to this system, I mean, the reason we implemented shields in the first place was to deal with the problems of multiple walls. That
is certainly true.
That is the only reason the shield system ever existed.
But is that really? I mean, did we have a problem with multiple walls when we implemented it? I can't remember there being multiple walls in World 8.
I don't know if the problem was theoretical or if.
I doubt we would have implemented shields unless we really had to.
Did you give the hat to the gold subscribers?
No, I did not.
Okay, we're gonna give it to the gold subscribers. Yeah. Let's see. The chat is moving kind of fast here, so if you spam your question multiple times, that'll make it better.
But also that is probably what you'll have to do.
Any thought on other shield options besides wood leather one? He's talking about.
Well, I mean that would certainly be fun, but we'd have to have some meaningful way of distinguishing them.
So last call for buying the mortar board hat. If you want it, you have 5 minutes before I put the new hat up in the store. So last call for mortar boards. Anyone? Have you removed existing ocean beaver lodges? No, we have not. You'll have to raid them, so they'll disappear naturally, I'm sure.
Have we removed what?
Ocean beaver.
Oh no, yeah, we have fixed so that they don't spawn on ocean.
They don't spawn on ocean anymore. 500% overstuffed. Make it back, please. Don't want to feast every 20 minutes.
Make it back.
Make it back. I'm not sure what your problem is there, Stisable. Let's make salt from salt water by boiling it, please. Yeah, I mean we.
That obviously that would be a thing to do, but
Yep.
also that also we need a use for actual salt that is not salt crystals. I mean, I don't imagine you imagine it to mean that you'd boil the kind of salt crystals that we currently have.
Unless that wasn't like a mechanic, unless we could make a mechanic out of that, but it's probably pretty busted.
Yeah, I think so.
And it would probably devalue the nodes.
And it would probably just not be fun.
Yeah. Force them to gather up liters upon liters upon liters upon salt water, boil it down.
Yeah, sounds really good. Sounds really good.
For every cauldron of salt water you boil away, no other mechanic, just boil it away. You have 0.000000001% chance
Sounds
of
real good there.
getting a salt crystal. I think it could be fun. Did you know that dragonflies eat midges in real life? Was a question asked.
Well, that's an interesting. That's
an
an
interesting
interesting observation. Why?
Why, pray tell, would you mention it? Because you like midges so much? All right. So we broke all the records we wanted to break, so you can hold off on the purchasing now.
Indeed. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Much obliged. We like midges so much. So do I. I actually, honestly, I like midges. I too. I think they're.
I don't really understand why people are complaining about them. To be honest.
No, I mean, when they deal with damage, usually it's not a big deal, but it makes it so that when you're low on HP, you actually have to watch out a little bit. I mean, I think that's fine.
I think that's very fine.
Yeah, more than fine. There was the other story of the guy who died to applying yarrow to a wound.
Oh, because
it debuffs Constitution by 1 point.
Oh, right. Oh, that's funny.
so there is, which is an effect that you would otherwise probably never notice from the arrow, but you can actually kill yourself.
Well, I mean, I don't mind that effect though. When you're that far out, and
you should probably consider your actions
before applying medicines and stuff.
Boone says, "Imagine getting laughed at on stream by the devs."
Well, I mean, it is pretty funny, isn't it? I'd laugh at myself if I did that.
I'd probably do that. Depends on what character.
It might not be my first reaction.
So thanks for giving call to smoked food. Then maybe also some cabbage crop. Yeah, sure. I mean, we have lettuce right now. We don't have cabbages.
Right. Why haven't we had cabbage? That's. I mean, I know we've talked about that for a long time.
Cabbage is a brassica, right?
Yeah, right. We had them in Salem, didn't we?
Yeah, we probably did, right?
Yes.
We probably did.
Yes, right. Because you couldn't harvest them at different colors.
Right. There were cabbages there, right? You guys have any more plans for more creatures in the future? Yeah, there are going to be more creatures. I think one of the fun things that I've had with adding oceans have been adding more ocean life.
Yeah, sure, certainly.
And I think there's more to add there. I want to add orcas for one, and killer whales.
Yep.
And so I think there's a lot of stuff to add there, and also dungeons. Obviously, we've talked about walrus seal dungeon would be fun.
Yep.
Pinniped dungeon basically, and
Yep.
whale dungeon. Obviously, getting swallowed by the whale would be awesome sauce fun. So dolphins, dolphins. I guess there are dolphins in the Mediterranean at least. So I guess that's kind of Europe.
Oh, there are.
There are dolphins in the Med.
What do you call tumlar in English again?
Right. That's what do you call those? Let's check it out. You tell me.
Porpoise.
Oh, right, porpoise. That's true. That's a thing. Because we have those here, right?
Yeah.
Or at least
not
in
sure
Norway,
exactly
right?
where. At least on the western coast.
Right on. So we should add those. That would be fun.
Yep.
Will there ever be?
Aren't there dolphins in the Baltic Sea?
No. Well, I'm not actually sure. No, I don't.
I think
so.
I've heard that sometime. Might be wrong.
I don't think so. Never heard of it. What about narwhals? Narwhals would be cool as well.
Certainly.
They're like every species of whale conceivable, basically. Giant octopus would be fun too.
Yes.
And you know.
And I'm sure Kraken will be in it.
Exactly, Cthulhu, sunken continent of Runia. Why have personal claims become completely undestroyable while active? They're not completely undestroyable.
Indeed.
You can use a siege engine, I'm fairly certain.
Indeed.
New millet crop can't be sprouted in herbalist table to boost quality like wheat or barley. Is this intentional? The real question is, can you
make beer of it?
I wasn't aware of the mechanic where you place wheat or barley sprouted on the herbalist table to increase the quality of it. I wasn't aware you could do that. I knew you could plant it, but I never
Does
considered.
that affect the quality? Indeed?
Apparently, I'm sure. I mean, normally,
Never thought of that,
reasonably, it would. I didn't know that.
Never thought of that.
I'm not sure I hate the
You
mechanic,
mentioned.
but
Indeed, I don't think I hate it, but
I don't think I hate it either.
But I had never
I've never used
thought of
it.
that.
Is your herbalist table quality ever higher than your crop quality?
No, but certain crops could be higher than others. Your flax could be higher than flax that you make the herbalist table of could be higher than.
Yeah, sure, but
Than
I
barley
mean,
and wheat.
surely normally your wheat quality is higher than your herbalist table, right? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe
Perhaps not. Who knows?
Wolf King 6116 says you cannot destroy an active claim. Really?
Pretty sure you can. I mean, not with adventure destroy, but
Yeah, no. You got to get a siege engine on that.
indeed.
Which is another topic that maybe merits some discussion. I'm not sure. Like claims are maybe still a bit too cheap and stuff.
Yeah, I mean it's on the other hand, obviously there's the case that of many a player complaining about them being too destructible, and while they're still charging up, so to speak.
Sure.
So not sure what to make of that, but
No, me neither. So one of the things that I thought we were going to do with the stream was we are going to look at the maps that we're not playing.
indeed.
This was a fun exercise. We generated 10-ish maps.
Yeah, it's actually the first world where we've done this.
Yep. Normally we just generate a world and run with it. But
Indeed.
here we generated 10 worlds, or 10 seeds at least.
Yep, and chose the one that we felt were the best.
Exactly. So
Was
we're gonna
the best.
was the best. So we're gonna look at all the maps that we're not playing, except for map number 9.
Yeah, but that would be all the maps that we're not playing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. True. We're gonna look at all the maps except for map number 9, which is the one we are playing.
Indeed.
Exactly. So we're gonna take a look at those, so you can have a look-see at the maps, and yeah, let's just dive right into that. What about a rare spawn for each critter, like a mini boss that's slightly stronger and gives higher quality and more harvest? That could be fun.
Something like that could certainly be fun. I mean, if anything, arguably we should reintroduce the multiple critter levels from Legacy. That's an idea.
Those were tied to the civilization rating, right?
Yeah, exactly, and that might not be the greatest idea to reintroduce, but
Right.
something along those lines could be fun.
Any ideas for a fishing rework expansion? Perhaps things like a new boat designed for fishing in the ocean, like trawling or stuff could be fun. Yeah, a trawling boat.
Well, I
I'm
mean,
not sure
but-
how much fish you actually need. But
Exactly.
So here you can look at the zoomed out versions of all the maps that we're not playing, and you can take a gander at the thumbnails here. I'm sure you can see them. While you take a look at the thumbnails, we're going to go through them and have some quick looks at all of them. Burin says those are some sexy looking maps. I have to agree. Big shout out to my boy Loftar here for some excellent, in my opinion, work on the map generator. We have some pretty cool maps here.
Certainly worse. Do we start with the closest candidate?
Which were the closest
The closest candidate was number 7, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, 7 was close, but 2 was close as well.
He was close as well.
So I think let's just go through them in order. This one was one of the maps. This is map number 1. We, off the top of my head, I think we felt that this map
Had a bit too much empty space in the middle.
a bit too much empty space, too few islands, like
Right,
little
indeed.
islands and islets.
Indeed.
So that's otherwise. I think this map is good. I mean, I think there's a good distribution between a couple of large continents, and that's I think a good selling point for this one. But I think there are too few islands on it, so I think that's yeah. I also like the mountain distribution on this one. I think that's
certainly
fair.
that was probably a strong point of it.
Yeah. Otherwise, yeah. Do note that this is without lakes and rivers, right?
Yeah.
So
and some other post-processing generation too.
Yeah. So there are features missing from this. This is just the basic.
Basic land structure.
Yeah, outline. The white shapes are the mountains. Yeah, I think this was the first one we looked at, obviously, since it's number one. So it was a strong candidate from the get-go. Number two here.
Number two was quite fun in that it had a large number of a larger number of somewhat smaller continents.
Yeah, a large number of somewhat smaller continents, all kind of centered around this central sea here.
Yep.
Which would I'm sure could have been interesting, from the conflict perspective. I think one of the reasons we decided against this
was probably again because of a lack of smaller islands.
Yeah, I think the lack of more archipelago style. Archipelago. The lack of archipelago was a knack against this map. Otherwise, this was a cool map, and this was one of the stronger candidates. This is one of the ones we were considered. All reckless. Why are there no rivers and lakes? Because those are added later in the map generation.
This is just a preview mode of the map generator. I didn't actually generate these maps.
Exactly. So these are just previews. So
yes.
They're not fully generated. Here we have map number 3. This one, it was cool. Like it's interesting.
It's quite unusual. I mean, I like in particular the fact that there's this long thin continent dividing the map in north and south parts, so to speak.
Yep. But I think that was also ultimately why we decided against it.
Yeah, it also felt perhaps a bit weird.
Yeah,
especially for the first map of this kind, so to speak.
Yep, and there are also some other arguments against it. If you notice, all of the large continents up here are actually connected with shallowish water, which you can just rowboat across.
Indeed.
So there's no need to actually use a Knar to cross these waters.
Indeed. So I think that was a strong argument against.
Which was a strong argument against the one. These ones I think are technically separated, but the distance here is
so small that it would probably
minimal.
Not matter.
You could probably cheat your way across there. Granted, we introduced bugs that made it possible to cross the world anyway, but
that aside.
So yeah, this was an interesting map, but we ultimately decided against that one.
Yep.
I don't think it was one of the top contenders exactly.
Indeed.
Number 4 here. I think I don't know. It has a couple of qualities. Like there are a fair amount of islands on it, at least a couple of decently sized islands. But I think the lack of continents is
exactly the lack of I guess continents are well defined within the boundaries of the map.
Yeah, I think that's the strongest argument against this one. Yeah. Not much else to say, I think. I think this one.
I don't think it was one of the stronger contestants.
No, I don't think so either. Let's put that one back. Bring out number 5. Number 5 was more interesting.
Yeah, exactly. There's this island land up north, which is kind of fun.
And then the northwestern archipelago there is kind of fun. There are a couple of in the southwest-ish.
Even southeast.
Yeah, southeast. Sorry, southeast. A couple of semi-large islands. So I thought this one was fairly interesting, but ultimately I think
we had better ones.
Yeah, we had better ones. Too few continents and stuff. We decided against that one. Now we come to a real favorite of mine. Okay. Beautiful mountain structure that just happened to appear here in the Western Hemisphere. No comments on biome distributions. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. I don't know. Like
no particular comments indeed. Or is there anything we should comment about?
What would you want to know about it? So this one certainly has something going for it. All hail the map generator, indeed.
Indeed.
I think this map has at least one particular strong point that I really like. But other than that, I think there are too few islands again, and you'll notice that the main continents here are connected again.
Indeed.
So,
I think that was arguably one of the strongest arguments against it.
yeah. Other than that, I suppose it could be interesting. Like, I'm not at all apodictically opposed to having at least a couple of larger continents. That's not. Boom, number 7.
This was the strongest contestant, I think, outside of the world we actually chose in the end.
Yeah, and
because there's quite some variation to the number and distribution of islands and sizes.
It is fairly differentiated, to say the least. There are a lot of little islands. There are continents. I think those were probably the criteria we were looking at most. Like, are there islands? Are there continents that?
Yeah, and especially a good variation in island sizes.
Yeah.
And this was certainly a strong contestant in that regard.
Yep. And I think the arguments against it is that all the main land masses on this map are connected,
or at least very almost connected.
Yeah.
That was certainly a strong point against this map.
Yeah. Ultimately, the reason. Audio Smurf asks, is map expansion more or less complicated to manage now with the introduction of oceans?
No difference.
No difference. It's the same, easy as always has been. Number 8. I do recall some strong arguments in favor of this one as well.
Especially the little archipelago down there in the southeast.
Yep.
I think
there's an interesting archipelago in the southeast. I think the archipelago.
The mountain distribution is pretty nice too.
The mountain distribution is fine, and this little area in the west here, you can probably not see my mouse cursor, right? But the little area in to the west here is also somewhat interesting. I find. So yeah, liking this one. But ultimately, I think it has similar problems. Most of the main land masses are connected or nearly connected. Like, it's almost a connection there, and it's definitely a connection between those two areas. So we decided against this one. Number 9 is suspiciously missing from our list.
Yep.
But then we have number 10.
This was a strong contestant too, I remember.
Yeah, there were a lot of strong arguments for this one.
Yes.
I think what we've said about the other previous maps is what brought down this one as well. These are almost connected.
Indeed.
And these are definitely connected.
Indeed.
And yeah, so it's, there was a real risk of like all these continents just being connected in like a walkable or boatable, easily boatable little ring. Otherwise, I like this map. There was a nice distribution of continents relative to islands, relative to small islands, etc.,
yes.
etc.
In particular, that I particularly like that little weird island set there in the top middle.
This one?
Yes, exactly.
All right, this one. Yeah. What did you like about it?
I don't know. It just spoke to me, I guess.
It spoke to you. Okay. Yeah, well, like. Yeah, one of the things that we Halligot says, let me introduce you both to a great tasty food named potato. It's brown on outside and yellowish in the middle. You can make many things from it, like chips, fries, or vodka. Everyone loves it. It's named a potato. Please add it, stop ignoring me. It's literally most Slav food in the world. It's also a new world food.
Indeed.
It's also just useless carbohydrates. It's like, why are you eating that, sir? When you can eat meat.
Right.
No, sir. No, sir. You take your potatoes and be gone with them. But yeah, more drinks would be fun. Mead and stuff.
Yeah, certainly. I'm not sure how the drinks work out yet.
No, me neither.
Quite honest.
Sabinati told me, said in the chat earlier that they suck, but
But we don't know why.
We don't know why. We probably missed the explanation of why.
Yes, there's.
As there was at least quite a lot going on. Have you guys made drinks? No,
Nope.
no, not in game. But I mean, we've looked at them. But any consideration for jam, jellies? I don't know. What would you want? Yeah, jams would be fun. More kind of like.
Wasn't there something we? There was something that made us speak about jellies the other day.
Yeah, the jellyfish.
Oh right, right.
We wanted to make.
Right.
I spoke about making because you can use oozes from the caves as jelly for your jelly cakes and stuff. And I wanted that to be like an optional or like differentiated input type where you could use any jelly. So you could use jellyfish.
So that would be a great idea.
That would be fun, right? You could use jellyfish to make jelly cake. How dumb would that be? Midge repellent to put in bases because I hate logging in to leave my damn house just to get swarmed by midgets. How about some brick houses for a change? 2-story barrack type tower, for example. I would love brick houses. I think the reason I haven't added those, I've talked about this before, is that I don't really want to. I feel like a bit retarded trying to exhaust the possibility space of designing houses because there's literally an infinite number of things you could do, and I think time invested in making prefabricated houses would be time better invested in making resources for a free-form building system where you could actually design the house yourself.
Indeed.
Which is one of the long-term goals that we would want
to implement.
Like to implement and like to pursue.
Certainly.
One of the arguably original ideas for
Yes,
one
definitely.
of the original pitch ideas for
We have been wanting that since forever, for sure.
Yeah. Fun fact, true fact, there were actually like an early implementation of walls in the first version of Haven.
It's just that there were never any roofs to match.
Sabinote says, did you change the satiation reductions on drinks between World 10 and World 11 because they are imbalanced now with the new food satiations? Imbalanced how? Or you told me, you said earlier the drinks were bad. How are they imbalanced?
Well, I do think it is true that we decreased the amount of satiations that you get back from drinking.
Right. So they're worse now than they used to be.
Yes, I do think we did nerf them.
Right. Probably true. Like I'm not at all opposed to looking. I haven't gotten to making them myself, so I wouldn't really know. But if they suck, I'm not at all opposed to. Tea reduces bread satiation by 0.5%. That sounds like a number I recall implementing. I think it's probably what we. That might be a bit weak, yeah. What would make it good?
There is also the question how it interacts with quality, though.
Yeah. Drinks.
I mean, yes, I'm sure that's true at quality 10 tea.
Yeah. Guys, why don't you raise subscription price? They say niche games are usually pretty expensive, like Dragon Realms Mud has a $1.50 subscription price.
Oh, really?
Wow, I'm concerned you wouldn't be able to continue to work on this incredible game. That's kind of you to suggest that. I'm not. We actually lowered the price.
Exactly.
It used to be $1.10
because many people felt it was too expensive.
Yeah. And I think I've found that we're in a good place now. I like where we're at with the $1.07 for starting at $1.07. Sabinote says versus a honey bun which can raise satiation by like 35%? Question mark? God damn it! What have you been smoking? Come on, Caraca. Yeah, so maybe buff drinks then.
Perhaps. I'm just not sure how that would work out in the end with high qualities.
We'll consider. Audio Smurf says, any chance to change fishing nets to be more usable at sea? Feels very useless when any shithead with a dugout can steal them.
Well, I mean, you can just claim them. Oh, yeah, right, out at sea.
Out at sea. It's a good argument, I think.
Well, I mean, then again, this out at sea.
Burin says, whisper again, Gorbo. ASMR what? ASMR. That's like audio sensible. It's like when people listen to like sensual voices saying sensual things. Hey, can you please fix my goddamn collision on the garden shed? What's that?
Garden Shed.
Shed. Thank you, friends. I love this game very much and will gladly donate my real-life cows for other virtual cows in this game. It's perfect, but please fix my shed. Thanks, and have fun tonight. Boys,
what's up with the shed?
You would have to specify what the problem with your shed is, sir. Sea claims when? That's a good question. Law of the sea, no man's sea. Sea is free for all. Free seas. There's a lot of comments on the...
It is a good question, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we have spoken about similar things for realm expansion.
Yep. Zunzon asks, have you plans to develop a way to connect small islands to kingdoms? I don't have any plans, but we did discuss that. We talked about that.
Indeed. Not sure we have any real.
No, but we had some ideas, like at least in terms of like.
We didn't have any concrete ideas, but we had some entry points.
Yeah. Like one idea was to make it so that you could always.
I haven't actually checked if anyone has founded a realm yet.
I don't think. I think you'd know about that.
I guess.
Let's start a new character, boys. But no, I think the one of the ideas we discussed was making it so that you could basically found a new colony point anywhere along the ocean if you controlled an ocean tile or whatever, and then expand your realm from there.
Yeah, that was one of the things we talked about at least.
Yep. So I think, but that should definitely be added at some point. I think it would be reasonable if kingdoms could expand and colonize and stuff. Decay vines have appeared on the tiles under our very claimed palisade after over a week of being claimed. Is this a visual bug only or worse? Not sure. I'd have to look at a screenshot to be able to tell. You could please post a bug report about that, or send me a PM or whatever. Melchior11 says, what is the most whack idea you developed but ultimately decided not to implement? I think poop tiers is, or poop,
certainly.
Poop inventory.
The colon inventory.
Colon inventory is pretty whack idea.
I never understood why that was considered whack, though. It seems only reasonable.
Exactly. So colon inventory is pretty high on the list. More dungeons, maybe like a boar dungeon that you can get from picking up some kind of mushrooms.
From picking up a mushroom, you say?
Apparently.
There are certainly ideas for new dungeons. I don't think boar dungeons are that high up on that list, but...
Yeah, good. I wouldn't actually mind boar dungeon. It could be fun with a skitty like some...
No, I'm sure. I just think we have other ideas for dungeons that we would like to implement before that.
Which is your favorite idea for a dungeon?
Well, I like my two favorites right now are either beehives,
right on,
or the ice beast dungeon.
Right. I like beehives too. Beehives is really cool.
Yep. I'd like to try to make a new kind of a more distinct kind of dungeon map generator for that, which generates like the honeycomb structures for.
Yeah, that would be really cool. Whale dungeon, it has to be done for sure. It has to be done.
It has to be done.
Yeah. Official Ramsey says, any thoughts on non-PvE dungeons that focus around puzzles and problem solving? We've had a desire to want to make the dungeons have more puzzle type structures in them. It's just not trivial to come up with good puzzle generation,
especially ones that can be randomly generated in various configurations and stuff. But we're trying. I think it's safe to say that we're trying to expand on it.
So yeah, we definitely would like to have more, intelligent puzzle type things going on.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the problems there is that most like puzzle solving games, or a lot of them at least, depend on. I don't know if that's true, but I'm thinking of Zelda. Like that depends a lot on like Twitch timing maneuvers when you're jumping from over platforms and stuff.
To some extent, for sure.
So, and we can't really do that too well. But I suppose there are some that are, purely intellectual puzzles. So Puzzle Pirate Haven when.
Indeed.
Herp Derp has made a special clip of of me saying we'll consider.
I would expect no less, of course.
Yeah, and we're picked dry here.
Oh.
F me.
See?
F me. Damn, though, that world reset, it was a lot of fun, boys.
Yeah, certainly.
It's been
quite
really.
a ride.
I think Oceans have done a lot of good for the map.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, there are perhaps somewhat questionable mechanics related to them, like the Nomad stuff.
Yeah, like the Nomad stuff. Yes,
But,
there are some wrinkles to iron out for sure.
But for sure, it makes the whole map so much more memorable, since
Yeah.
it gives it a lot more macroscopic structure and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I always imagined that would be the case to some extent, but I have to say it has beaten my expectations as to the degree to which that
Yep.
played out.
Word up. Yeah, I didn't when I first suggested that we should add Oceans, I didn't really imagine that they would make this big of a difference. I think had I known like how big of a difference they would have made, I think we would have added them earlier.
And they actually, yes.
Official Ramsey says estimated time before someone finds you in game. I don't know. I don't know. It's up to you. Biozen says,
What kind of stone was that?
That was alabaster.
Oh, I see. I haven't seen those yet.
That was also a fun thing, adding a bunch more stones and stuff. That's one of the more fun things about World Resets. Hey, my friend. The garden shed collision is slightly more than one tile, so it will kill all usable tiles around it. However, the model only looks like it overlaps 5% of the adjacent tiles. Okay, so
I think that's intentional, though. I think it looks a lot larger than one tile, though. To be honest.
oh yeah, it's larger than one tile for sure. If you want to, I can expand the model to be bigger.
Indeed. If there is a problem, I'm pretty sure that's the solution.
Come on, moth. Come on, give me the moth. Why don't you make biomes realistically placed, though? Colder climates north, hotter climates around the equator would also make different parts of the world more contestable. I'm not saying that's strictly a bad idea, but the argument against it is that we'd like to be able to expand the map at some point.
Indeed.
And if we do that, we don't want to be locked into like hard-coded notions of
North, south.
Ultima Thule and such.
Indeed.
So we don't want a hard north to be defined on the map, or hard any cardinal direction for that matter.
Indeed.
I know you don't like adding structures, but a lighthouse that could also work as a sea road using buoys would be sweet. That would actually be kind of fun.
Adding structure? Do we not like adding structures?
I just had a long rant about how I don't like adding buildings.
Oh, you meant for houses? Yeah, but that's a completely different thing, though.
Yeah, I thought it was related. Like, I mean, if we had freeform building, I would imagine the lighthouse being an add-on.
Yeah, sure, but you know that I think that's a different thing from having sea roads for sure.
Yeah, I mean, his idea seems to be that the roads, the sea routes should start at a lighthouse or extend from a lighthouse. I didn't think that was a terrible idea. Did you?
No, I guess I just assumed the main idea was sea roads rather than lighthouses.
Can you confirm that you hate Jordan Coles?
I don't think I can confirm that. I don't.
Jordan Coles is a good man. Show him the mug, yeah. Very grateful for the mug, Jordan Coles. How will you address PvP in regard to people having 1,000 unarmed because it's all they raise versus, say, someone with 400 to 500 not being able to compare? That's a standing issue, like a standing question. I mean, there are diminishing returns to grinding away at your stats. There are several.
And there's also the issue of just exactly how stats are compared to each other.
Yeah.
I mean, to be sure, we're speaking of someone with 500 unarmed 500 in combat values, not comparing to people with 1,000 in combat values. I'm pretty sure I mentioned this in stream previously, but one of the things I consider in particular is making the comparison between stat values a kind of inverted S-curve.
Right.
So that the idea being that, you know, as long as you're within a factor of perhaps two or so apart from each other, you would be somewhat equal in combat abilities. but the actual output of combat maneuvers from between each other would increase more sharply after that.
Word up.
So that those few points between one another don't matter as much as the ability to knock out people who are far from you in values.
This guy right here, he has ideas. Can you make it so that we can destroy vines on pavement from underneath, ship with a scythe or something? Yeah, we've been talking about
destroy vine from underneath. Oh, you mean like when decay has struck under a house or something?
Yes, and I mean, ideally it shouldn't do that, right? That's a bug.
No, I don't think that's a bug.
No,
I mean, tiles and objects decay independently of each other.
Yeah, but tiles under objects shouldn't be decaying.
That's not a mechanic right now, or
perhaps
you could argue
sure
it should be.
I'm fairly sure it is.
Yeah, it's not. It's never been.
Oh, certainly it is.
No, it's not.
Pavement shouldn't decay under palisades.
Yeah, perhaps, but I think it does.
No.
Yes, I'm pretty sure there's. I'm pretty sure there's nothing preventing that from happening.
I'm pretty sure there are things preventing that from happening.
Yes, a claim. A claim is preventing that from happening.
Right. Sure. Right. Sure. Okay. So right. Sure. Should that be a thing? Would that be hard?
It would probably not. Depends a bit. There are some optimizations to decay right now that would make that I would have to remove in order to do that.
I'm gonna make a note of it.
And I'm not sure I like to remove those optimizations, but on the other hand, it might not be a big deal. That being said, though, houses don't completely overlap tiles, so a tile could still be hit without the tile, without the house being hit.
Sure. Not sure how that should work. How should that work?
Well, I mean, there is a case to be made that, you know, if you have a claim, this is not a problem.
Get good, bruh. There's a claim.
Just saying, there is a case to be made.
There's a case to be made. You should get good. What do you guys think about more cosmetic stuff for Hearthlings so we can personalize our character more, like new hairstyles, color of hairs, color of skin, being fat, muscular, etc. Blah blah blah. I like that idea. So.
Yes, very much. There are that is. I mean, certainly more customizable body shapes.
Word up.
Is certainly something that I have been wanting for quite some time, but it is difficult.
Did you ever play GTA San Andreas?
I did not. I haven't played any of the 3D GTA games.
Right on, because there you can work out at a gym, and so you have like a muscle to fat ratio on your character.
Right.
And you can also swole out and eat at like McDonald's to get fat.
Well, I mean, I like that very much. I very much like that to be a thing, but I think the problem is more on your side.
Sure, the problem is admittedly on my side. Like,
but I mean, that being said, I don't say that to blame you, because I realize that the problem may be intangible, not tangible. But what's the word in
it might be
intractable.
Right on. It might be a bit difficult to solve the problem at the very least. It's not trivial to fix that.
The problem being that with differing body shapes, it makes it very hard to make various clothes pieces fit together.
Yeah. I mean, it's one thing for like the textured part of the character, because that can always be stretched. So that's one thing. So that's not really a problem. But like any equipped, geometry that is added to the character, we have no support right now to like in any way automatically adapt that to the character or anything. And
I mean, if we had stretching on the model itself, then it would probably be easy to add that same kind of stretching to the models. The problem being that they would start interacting weirdly.
Yeah, there would be a lot of mesh tearing in strange places for sure if we went for that, any attempt at that implementation. But I mean, that being said, there are other things that one could consider that are more within reach, like customization of the character texture, for example.
Yeah, certainly.
And I wouldn't be opposed to that. I wouldn't be opposed to like skin tones. I wouldn't be opposed to eyes, mouth, that kind of jazz. It's just a question more of doing that, I suppose, and a question of my drawing skills perhaps not being everything they could be. I already get bullied by people when they murder me. I don't need them calling me fat while they do it.
Well, I mean, that being said, it would certainly make a lot of sense to make people to make Earthlings that eat a lot to become fatter.
Yeah, I mean, dude, honestly, you just let yourself go recently. I mean, have you seen yourself in the mirror? I mean, can you blame them, really? Fat positivity in all honor. I'm kidding.
I kid.
Only halfway kid. Jeez. Let me become a fat fucking game. Yeah, I like it.
And it would only make sense. But I mean, in particular, one of the things that would be particularly fun in that regard would be to be able to have taller or shorter characters.
Yeah, that would be.
But that's also particularly hard to make work properly with animations and stuff.
Yeah.
Especially synced animations like the ones where you're turning roasting spits and stuff.
Yep.
I have no idea how that would work other than implementing complete inverse kinematics in the class.
Yeah, exactly. It would basically, I think that would require a much more extensive character model where like you have, you know, an idea of where the contact points for the hands are and stuff, and where you could, you know, I think you'd need a lot more information in the character to make something even remotely workable.
Indeed.
And there, I mean, I think the reason we haven't attacked that is because it is a lot of work. And the benefit is, you know, at the end of the day, I'm not sure it's. I'm not going to play it down. It would be a lot of fun. It would be a lot of fun, but
there are probably more important things for us to work on.
Arguably.
Unfortunately, but.
Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty expensive stuff to add some of the things that one could imagine adding. I mean, especially given that this is how, you know, we imagine the game being played normally. You know, I realize you don't actually play it that way, but at least in this game view, the character face is what, 10 by 10 pixels or something like that. So,
if even.
So. Oh, little bunny rabbit. Papa never did nothing wrong. Who knew? Goddamn. I hate it when it's that.
That wasn't really too thought through, was it?
No, it wasn't. Oh, there we go. Oh, gotcha. Little sucker. Damn.
On the other hand, you could have control clicked your way to a stump.
That's true. But I can't open a stump while I'm holding a rabbit, though.
Can't you?
Nope.
Can't you control right click?
I haven't actually tried. I didn't think you could at least.
Not sure, to be honest.
Aurora Girl says, Jorb, can you tell Frederick that he's sexy? would be against policy.
Please tell me, Jorb.
Would be against policy. That would be very much against policy. No homo. Please fix fishing nets. It's inconvenient for no reason due to their size plus all the fish you get. Let us put it over the head.
What?
I think he wants it carried overhead rather than picked up on the cursor.
Oh, but why though? Is that more convenient?
Because his inventory floods with fish, I guess. So then he drops the net.
Yeah, sure, but just keep it on the hand then, on the cursor.
Yeah, but then he has. But I mean, he has to put it down at some point, right?
I guess. And the water, and I mean, do you really move them out of the water once you planted them?
I don't, but I don't know. I defend yourself, sir.
I guess I just don't really see the
use. Please add daggers and poison. That could be fun.
I mean, you know, that's one of those ideas that sounds really fun in theory, but I'm not so sure it really turns out so fun in practice.
All funny.
Not sure though. I mean, you know, I'm not against adding more wounds, to be sure.
Exactly. I'm also. I'm in favor actually. I don't mind that at all. What am I supposed to do here? Homesickness. Teleport back to your hearthfire. Ooh, guy.
So now you have to do that because clearing the tutorial quest here, that is of utmost importance.
Yes, it is. Yeah, I mean, some of these tutorial quests are kind of mismatched because I'm so far into the game now, like that some of the quests that I'm gonna get later are gonna be pretty redundant.
That is true, but on the other hand, if you start following the tutorial quests immediately, I think that would be less of a problem.
Sure. More noisy shit when? Tree frogs, crickets noise for grasshoppers, cicadas. Yeah, that would be.
You have cricket noise for the grasshoppers.
Crickets already have.
That being said, I do have to admit I haven't heard much of them, so I wonder if there's something wrong with them or if they're not loud enough or something. Not sure.
I usually do. I'm hard truth here. I usually turn the sound off when I'm playing. I don't usually notice. Not sure why. I mean, usually it's because because I'm listening to something and I don't want the ambient sounds. Maybe I could turn those off strictly, but yeah, no, I haven't. But I think maybe you haven't been out when the crickets are out much either.
I think I have though. Not sure. Not sure if I've been on the right range though.
Right. We're not gonna eat magpie. Down to the Q1 magpie.
Where did you get the magpie?
I caught a magpie.
Oh, you did? How did you do that?
Magpies are easy, bro. You just drop something, wait for them to go get it.
Oh, you did that? I never noticed.
It's a really fun mechanic.
Yeah, sure. I like it too. I just never noticed you actually doing that.
No, I did that. It's exactly what I did. Bliventy, be honest. Do you personally play on custom clients? In Legacy, I used to play on Ender's client. But since the New Haven, I haven't been playing on a custom client.
I didn't play Legacy on custom clients either.
Hardcore. This man is hardcore.
That being said, going back to Legacy now on the full time, that is quite an experience even for me. Particularly the lack of tooltips is really nice.
Fixing seagulls when? What is the problem with seagulls?
I think we fixed them now with this patch.
What was the problem with
them? Dropping directly into the sea.
When you shoot them or what?
When they spawn.
Oh.
Did you miss that?
Oh yeah, I missed that. Was that the ploppity plop sound people were talking about?
Indeed.
So you fixed that. Alright, awesome. Yep. What's the biome you on, mate? Dry flat. I'm on a dry flat.
I do wonder if there should be an actual in-game mechanic to find that out.
Probably.
I mean, it's still kind of weird. I think. I mean, you can just look at it, but
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind getting like a discovery for walking onto a new terrain.
I guess.
But
I guess we have treading grass. I guess there was the idea to have one for every terrain.
Yeah.
But yeah, good question.
You two should play with a custom client for some weeks, then you would see the reason behind the request to port back certain features to the official one.
But the custom clients are so ugly, all of them. That's the problem. No,
aren't most of the ugly features optional?
I don't know. It seems all of them have ugly fonts and everything.
Right. That's true. Fuckers. They don't know where it's at. When you harvest the net, you get like the 5x5 net on your cursor, and if your inventory is full, you have no choice but to drop it in the water. You can't actually control plus left click to move when you have something on the cursor. So, Gerbible, we need to get Gerbible, says Savinati. So I take his advice for it and get some inspiration.
Speaking of the font,
Gerbible, all right.
That was the original font, if you recall. That was fun though. I almost regret us changing that.
Yeah, those were the days.
They really were.
We had the good old font.
The actual Fraktur font.
Genau. Add a nut experience when maxing out energy with a nut. Not sure I get the joke.
Indeed.
Maybe that's me being slow.
I don't get it either though.
Control plus left click drops the item. Lol, says Jordan Colt. No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
Fuck you, Colt. It doesn't work for me though. Or
yeah,
like
you mentioned this that it
works
stops
highly
working after a while.
selectively for me.
Does it work again if you didn't click control? If you type control again?
Apparently. Huh.
That's really weird.
Oh.
I have no idea why that
Oh,
would be
so
the case.
that's how I control it, right? So it loses track of me holding down the key.
No, because if that was all that happened, then you would drop it. So I have no idea what it does. I'm not sure if this is a Windows problem though, or if it's just your computer.
Would you please consider making it so that you don't lose all progress on a credo after death? No.
No. Why would you do that? Why
You're
would you
already
do that?
being leniently treated by getting all the credos you've actually completed.
Indeed.
Will you plan at polar bear in snowy mountains or yeti? Polar bear, I don't think I'd mind.
Not necessarily, at least.
If we, I guess we'd need some sort of biome for it, where it would feel more appropriate. I don't think mountain would be where I
would normally expect a polar bear, arguably.
If we added like ice drifts to the ocean or something like that.
Perhaps. Or perhaps it could be a seasonal thing.
Yeah, that's true. The polar bears wander in from the north when the cold comes, because you see they like cold, so they move to the cold if they can.
Exactly.
I'm sure that's how those work. Ice drifts are a good idea for the oceans. That's booming.
That being said, though, I'm really not sure what to think about this idea of temperature variations over the map.
How do you mean?
I mean, it's kind of the same thing. Adding ice drifts to the oceans would be kind of like adding north and south.
Yeah, sure. I mean, the point being that it could be a more delocalized thing.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it could be. It just could feel kind of weird.
Sure. No, I could see that being a bit weird.
Not sure if.
So maybe a seasonal thing would.
I mean, I don't mind the idea. I'm just wondering if there's a reason, if there's a way to implement it such that it doesn't feel weird, and I'm not sure quite simply. There could be.
How about more hazards to boats on the water, even to large boats? Yeah, we one of the things we wanted to.
Yeah, exactly. The current deep ocean mechanic is not exactly what we wanted to begin with. No. But what we wanted to begin with is a bit harder to implement, so we haven't had time for that yet, at least.
Exactly. We wanted kind of waves and winds and stuff that you could actually try to avoid and whatnot.
Exactly.
Goddamn midges. Worst mechanic ever. What if this world already has seasons and winter is coming?
What
if?
Who knows?
Who knows, huh? Exactly. Might just be more likely than you think. So you probably get some water. I found a fairies though. We should probably buff like all the wonder resources. I think all of them.
All of them.
Don't think there are many of them that are that sought after. Tell us, chat, should we buff all the wonder resources? Go try to get off the boat with a net on your finger while control clicking. Kick, 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 kick. Fix nets, riot.
Go try to get... Oh, but just drop the net if you want to get off the boat then, right? I mean...
Yeah, but that's what he's complaining about, because then he has to raise the net again to get it back out.
But... Isn't...
Because simply dropping the net
Yeah, I get that, but I feel like we've added 2 ways to control the net. Can't actually remember, but I seem to have some vague memory of that. I wonder if it isn't already liftable.
Could we, asks Dan the Man 540, get a specific graphic for spit roasting animals instead of the same non-descriptive animal? Also, the more you eat, the more stuff you get, the more you lean back and slouch in your chair.
Well, if slouching in the chair is a thing, which arguably it should be, I think more importantly would be a feasting mechanic where you're like nom 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 nom. A feasting animation.
Yeah, that we should definitely have that.
Thank you. We did discuss this.
Yeah, it's been on the cards for a very long time. Would also be fun with food flying all over the place.
Yeah, certainly.
Currently, someone here is arguing against buffing the wonders, because if we make them better, then people will wall them off. Loftar, when will the defective SSD be replaced? the stalls.
Well, as I already explained, I'm not sure it is. It is the defective
Exactly,
SSD.
Granger. Don't jump to conclusions.
Was that Granger?
Yeah.
I see.
I told him off. Don't worry about it. Is the new hat going to be for sale? Oh shit! I forgot, yo. At least y'all got plenty of time to get your mortar boards.
Indeed.
Damn. I know. Yeah, the new hat should be in the store
Presently.
to verify that is actually the case. Bum ba bum.
Isn't it?
It is indeed. Let's see, where were we? We were constructing a fireplace. Lobsters would be fun.
Certainly. I mean, certainly, more creatures that can pinch your fingers is certainly a future direction.
Exactly. It's important future direction for all game development.
Indeed.
Frederick, if your life was a movie, what songs would be on the soundtrack? Poison's Glory all day, every day.
Poison's Glory all day, every day. Perhaps the Fäbelina Reitermarsch.
That's classic. Jellyfishes are terrible, Bruder Bona, says Firella. Why are they terrible? Why are they terrible?
What was terrible?
Jellyfish.
Oh, I see.
Need lobster, crab pots, traps we can drop in the ocean. That would be fun. Lobster pots, crab pots. That could be fun, right?
Is that just an alternative fishing net?
It's a glorified fishing net, yes. But I mean, I suppose it's at least a bit dedicated, right? To
Sure, I guess.
make a note of it.
Perhaps we should add lobsters before adding lobster pots, though. But just that.
Would you consider a combat system that was more action-oriented, provided it required similar levels of skill that the current system does? Not sure how what levels of skill the present system actually requires.
Good question, I guess. I mean, we have obviously discussed that multiple times, I think.
Yep.
And the main issue with that kind of combat system is the latency problem.
Yep.
I mean, not that has to be a big problem. I don't know, there are several issues to it. I mean, for those who don't know, we already tried such a system in Salem.
Yep.
And
some people like that.
Indeed, some people did like that. Do like it, I guess, perhaps even. It's just, I always felt it was a bit strange with how the combat relations worked.
Right, they weren't really matched to the concept of action-based combat or whatever you want to call it.
Indeed.
True.
I'm not sure. I'm just not sure what I think about that, I guess.
Are the combat relations necessary? Do we need to have those?
Well, I mean, they do have functions like locking you out from logging out and stuff.
Yeah, but couldn't you have some other mechanic, just a log out timer or whatever, which could be interrupted by being hit or something?
Yeah, I mean, I guess. There are some mechanics. I mean, I'm not sure how important all of them are. I mean, there's like the mechanic where you don't get the battery sent for knocking someone out if you are not the offender if they're really in the relation. Not sure how important that actually is. Sparring relations is a thing, obviously.
Right. True.
But I don't know.
Let's see. Salem system was fun. The bile system made it terrible. Yellow bile lowering damage as it got lower and being unable to retaliate.
You can certainly see that. But that wasn't the only problem with it, was it? I mean, I think one of the main problems with that also was that I do think it was a problem that you were standing still while did the firebrand burn out?
Yeah, the third one now.
Oh, I see.
I think my record is like 7.
But I mean, generally, I think the movement in Salem's Comet was weird in that you stood still the entire time while preparing the attack and stuff like that. I mean, most of those things are fixable to some extent, and I am to some extent open to fixing those, but I'm not sure I mean, there are several issues to it, not least the combat UI, I guess.
Sabinati says, "Get good, Bruderbone." Jordan Cole says, "Bruderbone, if you were standing still in Salem combat, you were losing."
But you were necessarily standing still while doing the wind up of an attack.
Sure. There you go. Boom. Boom. There was Burin asked which question I found interesting. Which is our favorite movies? Favorite movie? What's your favorite movie?
Not sure, honestly. I mean, there are several movies I have liked that I am.
Frederick be like, movies suck.
I'm not necessarily such a fan of any longer. But one of the best movies I've seen in recent years is Le Roi Danse.
Indeed, that was a good one.
Yes.
That was a really good one. Le Roi Danse. It's about Louis XIV and his court, and it's in French, and it's really good.
It's actually really good.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's really you make fun of French movies, but this one is really good.
Yeah, it is really. It was honestly, I would put that one up there as well. It's one of the better movies I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
I like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. I think
I haven't seen that.
No, you should.
I know I should see it.
It's a blast of a movie.
Did you ever see The Conspiracy?
No.
That BBC movie about the Wannsee conference.
No, I didn't. You recommended that.
Yes.
I know.
I'm not sure if I'd actually call it good or not, but it was interesting.
Historically interesting, yeah, sure. No, I never saw it. Das Untergang.
I haven't seen that yet, actually. I should. I very much should.
You should really, really watch that one.
Yes, I should.
Bruno Ganz plays Hitler, and he actually, Bruno Ganz died the other day. So
oh, he did?
Yeah. It's a real shame. He was a very good actor, and he does. Obviously, everyone has seen all the Hitler meme movies or meme YouTubes, but it's a really good movie. He makes a wonderful, wonderful take on it. Quote me on that. quote me on that.
What's the thing to say?
Das Angriff Steiners, das war ein Befehl. Das war ein Führerbefehl. Really good. What were the other questions? Boom. Yep. Thoughts on deep sea fishing boat, new metal fishing pole for deep sea fishing? Yeah, it could be fun, like getting a shark on the end of the line.
Yeah, I guess perhaps there may be a case to be made.
Yep. Also, can you make salt water usable for tanning or boiling? Maybe
I think we did that.
Yeah, I think so too. I think you can use it. I think you can.
If that's not the case, then that's certainly a bug.
Yeah.
Because
look at that. I think you can. I think we intended at least to make
try it.
Boil it or
no? I mean, try making a tanning tub with salt water. I mean, you can cheat for that purpose.
But I don't have any salt water. No, I don't.
But you can make salt water.
F you, man. This man wickedly asking me to cheat. Will there be new combat moves added to the game soon? I hope not.
I don't know. There's a constant case to be made that we should revisit the combat system.
Yep.
For some reason, Jorb is never quite so
never
on that idea whenever I suggest it, because I suggest it totally seriously and not just at all.
Exactly.
But there's certainly a case to be made that we should.
We should certainly get on the combat system and do good things to it. But we've been burned a couple of times working on it. So.
Indeed.
So it's not something that we're like super excited to go get burnt on again, I guess. Boom. Perception. Constitution. Could we get metal shields soon? Would shields break too fast if you had a sketch on them because you're burning money?
Isn't that unfortunate?
Yeah, no, metal shields, why not? Does anyone use shields? Are shields...
Well, I mean, the thing with metal shields, it seems it would make sense to be able to differentiate them in some way other than their armor values. I think in remaking the combat system again, I think one of the things I'd really like to be able to do somehow, though I have no idea how yet, is to really improve melee combat. There really should be more differentiated and meaningful weapon choices and shields and
Yep.
armor kinds and things like that, but I'm just not sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind adding them simply for the aesthetics of it. I think we could do that.
I do think there's a case to be made that, you know, trading for meaningful combat material could be so much more of a thing.
Yeah, and you know, weapons should, you know, be more of like, you know, real artifact things that you actually,
definitely,
you know, invested time and effort into making.
Definitely. I mean, it really sucks how there can be no master sword.
Yeah. Every sword is just pretty generic and
extremely generic.
Yeah. Irrelevant, basically. Zented69 asks, can you make it so that we can burn logs just to get rid of them? Maybe. I don't know. Not a priority. Guildable weapons and armors when, asked Sabinote. Oops. Ooh.
Yeah, that's the main question, isn't it?
Is there any reason why haven't we added that?
Because there's nothing. I mean, you know, yeah, sure, you could gild them with all the kind of stuff that you can gild anything else with, but I think it would make much more sense to gild weapons with things that are specific to weapons.
Wouldn't jewels be good candidate?
Yeah, but it's just character value buffs. They should do stuff that are specific to weapons when you build weapons, I think.
Oh, you think so?
That's what I think.
Damn, dog. Damn. You got plans, bro.
That's what I would like for sure.
Rename weapons. Name a sword Heartseeker and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that wouldn't really be meaningful right now, is kind of the point that I'm trying to make.
It'd still be fun though. You find that fuck kurva 112.
Yeah, sure. I mean, sure. I mean, that's always a general question. Shouldn't any item be possible to name?
Arguably. Bug nets to nullify damage from crabs, jellyfish, and hedgehogs. I like bug nets, but the part where you...
Why would you use a bug net to nullify damage from jellyfish and crabs?
Because you would catch them with the bug net. Or with the
right. Right.
You're high, man.
Yep.
You should lay off the drugs. We were just outside of Barstow when the drugs started to take over. Come on,
okay, perhaps.
magpie. Come on. Come on. Is it random whether... I mean, he sees the... There we go. Gotcha.
Pretty sure he'll be coming for it sooner or later.
Yep. Can you consider making hedgehogs a tameable pet? Keep them in a pen. They're good friends. Maybe they can protect our cattle in the night. H&H Granger says, when will natural galleries be fixed?
What's the problem with them right now?
Nothing. It's just Granger thinks there's a problem.
But didn't we fix the problem he once complained about?
No, I think he has other problems with them. He basically, he had posted some screenshot where he had, explain your problem, Granger, what was your problem?
I mean, I think we fixed it so that they can't cross each other any longer.
Yeah, but he had some like obscure case where he lost like 2 tiles and it was like, it basically just shaved off 2 tiles. So it wasn't really like a gallery opening, it was more like something like that.
I guess.
Can we put whole logs into tar kilns? Would use block quality. We used to be able to put logs into bonfires in Legacy. I think
Could you do that?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I think logs were fuel quite simply. You could toss them into kilns and stuff as well.
I have no memory and no recollection of that.
But I think they open into mined areas, complains Granger.
Into
mined areas.
Oh, right. Yeah, I guess I can see that.
Make a mallard coop, says Robertson. Should have ducks for sure. What were ducks actually domesticated from? Like, what's the old duck?
Weren't mallards supposed to be our ducks?
No, I mean ducks as in domestic ducks.
Is that actually the distinction?
What do you mean?
Is duck a term for domestic? It's strictly a term for domesticated fowl.
I'm not really sure about the term duck, but I mean ducks. Let's tentatively use it that way then. I suggest that we use the word duck to refer to.
Sure.
Take the word duck to refer to a domesticated duck. I mean, mallards are also called drakes.
Wasn't that just the males?
No, that's true. That's probably true, actually. Those are the males. Mallard drake and mallard hen, right?
Because that's what they're actually
called.
called.
That's what they're actually called, right? But they're called mallards. They're not called ducks. Like, mallard is a name for them.
And that is certainly the case.
They are a species of duck, I'm sure. But point being, I like the white kind of normal ducks that lay eggs and that you keep around a farm and stuff. Those kinds of ducks.
I see.
That would be fun. And the question I'm then asking is, what?
Isn't that geese?
No, you can have you can have geese as well. Geese is another thing that you can have.
Just I've just never thought of ducks as white
Oh,
other
no,
than in Duckburg.
No, you can have they're white domesticated ducks. You can have them, keep them much like chickens, and get eggs from them and stuff. Ducks are good stuff. Do seasons need a new world? Asks Official Ramsey. Not intrinsically, no.
I wouldn't expect that.
No, probably not. Like maybe there's some implementation that would need it, but not generally, no. Goose and ducks. You can make goose grease for healing, etc. Yeah, exactly. Geese would be fun.
What can you do for healing? Goose grease, is that a thing?
What isn't a thing when it comes to healing?
Well, I mean, I guess, but I've never heard about goose grease.
Any kind of snake oil.
I see.
People are willing to try anything for health. Stamina cost for rowboating when? That is a good question.
That is a good question, certainly.
Controversial change.
Certainly.
Controversial change.
Controversial for sure, but I don't really understand why we didn't do that this time around. I'm pretty sure we discussed it when we added the rowboats back.
Yeah.
So I've actually no idea why we haven't already done that.
I mean, arguably it's pretty retarded that you can row all day every day
really
and
is.
not lose any stamina whatsoever.
It really is.
Come on, little bunny rabbit.
Snaking those ridges.
Damn, that's steep. Can you tell us what is the highest quality glimmer moss found in the world so far?
I don't actually think I can. I don't think we track that.
So no. Not for y'all McBridges. There's usage of down feathers. Watching you play only makes me thirst for the lagless experience since your ping is so low. Now you should move to glorious Sweden, I guess.
Right.
Confirmed for best country.
Well, I mean, if they really want the lowest ping, they should probably move to Germany, but...
Deutschland, Deutschland.
Oh, yes, that's a fine democratic song.
That's actually true. It's a revolutionary trash song.
It is.
Should sing the Bayern hymn instead. Heißen mit viel schönen Reden. Ihre Länder, Berg und Saar. Ihre Länder, Berg und Saar. Saßen viele deutsche Fürsten. Saßen viele deutsche Fürsten.
I don't know that one by heart for sure, but I was thinking about Eileen in Siegerkanza otherwise.
That's true. Merch cape on store. Merch cape, what do you mean by merch cape? Merchant's robe. Should we sell a merchant's robe in the store? I think that's a bad idea.
I also think that's a bad idea.
/ stab animation for melee combat moves. Why not? I
guess that just raises the question about individual graphics for all the various attacks.
Yeah. That being said, I could certainly see an argument to differentiate it at least a little bit.
Sure.
We could add a couple of more generic moves. Arguably, like the combat effects from old Haven were wicked, yo.
Yeah, they were.
So if we could get those back on in, it would be fun. Thoughts on a boar worm dungeon? Not really.
Could be a thing.
Could be a thing. Could be fun. I can see boar worm dungeons being a thing. I think another like stupid ass high level dungeon could be fun. And I think more underground dungeons could be fun as well. I had a lot of fun prowling the underworlds last world, looking for my first bat dungeon, until it appeared right next to my bed. Also had a lot of fun looking for chasm conks. Chasm conks. Never found one though.
Perhaps that shell should be a dungeon.
That's how it would actually be. It should be a little house at least for sure you can walk into. We could always do with a troll dungeon. Yeah, a troll dungeon could be fun. Slime dungeon would literally give me stage 4 cancer, as Jordan calls it. With just the most giantest slime as the king of the dungeon.
That too, but I imagine this the entrance to the slime dungeon would just be spawning slimes indefinitely around so to make it extra cancerous.
It would be fun if the outward appearance of the dungeon was like this big jello cake thing.
Alright.
Wobbling. Dakin says, I had lots of fun searching for Fulgurite. I'm pretty sure he's doing
right. Yes, we all know about that.
You got him good there, bro.
Yeah, I really got him good there.
that showed him.
Trolled. That was fun.
Those were the days. Let's see. Thorn in the foot, when though?
Yeah, that's true, isn't it?
That's the real question. Oops. Alright, we're gonna make a birchback backpack thing.
Birchback barkpack.
Exactly. Whatever you want to call it. Miklosher suggests you finish the slime dungeon and it splits into 2 smaller slime dungeons. That's brilliant.
That would be fun.
That would actually be.
If you don't defeat them in time, they grow back into full-size dungeons.
That is actually brilliant. Man, that's fine. Moigui asks, do both of you play? We should make a realm, a kingdom.
Not sure that's a great idea though, but sure.
Aurora Girl asks, can you ask Frederick why he never answers on forum private messages, or how I can contact him? Heart. She's hitting on you pretty hard there, man.
I don't never respond to private messages though.
Try sending him again. He'll respond for sure. Slime. What are your thoughts on an overworked boss like dragons, or make an endgame dungeon like a dragon's den?
Yeah, what are our thoughts on that?
I mean, I've wanted dragons like
Yes.
since forever. So
It's just that.
it would have to be worth it. Like it would have to feel special or something.
Yes, and also, I mean, it just doesn't really feel fun to add those kinds of special creatures when the combat system doesn't really work well in PvE.
I'm not going to say that it feels not fun to add them. Like adding big creatures is kind of all. I don't think anyone has actually killed a whale yet.
No, it did. No one has killed a whale yet. Though there are more than one screenshot.
No, purporting to present a killed whale.
That is a bit funny, actually. I wasn't actually sure if I should reveal that no one has killed a whale yet.
I accidentally did. And so, sorry about that. I didn't think of it. But yeah, no, there were some pretty good screenshots of it as well. So someone had put some
pretty convincing ones.
Yeah, exactly. Some fair amount of effort into shooping a good shoop of that. So what's on our development agenda coming down the pipe? Tell them about the client thing that you're working on, not the rendering rewrite, but the getting away from the
that thing. Oh, right.
The New World Order thing.
Oh, right. The thing is, I can't really push client updates right now.
Can't push them.
The approximate cause for that being the case is that the code signing certificate has run out, and the thing is that
we don't want to pay.
Well, there is that part, but there is there is that part. There is definitely that part, especially since the specific racial minority that runs these companies has also decided to.
You're referring to the Irish, of course.
Yeah, of course. Have decided to raise the prices by like a factor more than the double. But more importantly, there's also the case that Oracle is deprecating Java Web Start altogether.
Java Web Start shall be no more.
Indeed, I think the latest version of Java already actually doesn't actually include it anymore, which came as a bit of a surprise to me just a few months ago. So that makes it kind of stupid to renew the certificate if we won't be using it anyway. So rather, it seems that the plan right now is to write our own launcher instead.
Yep.
Which sucks a bit because it's quite a bit of unnecessary work. And I also don't really understand why they decided to deprecate Java Web Start. It's a weird decision to me.
Omnipotent O says audio is echoing. Are we fixed? Okay, so alright, keep on. Keep on keeping on.
Where were I? Yeah, I don't really understand why Oracle decided to deprecate Java Web Start. I think it's a weird decision.
Yep.
I mean, if there's anything I liked about Java, that's Java Web Start, really. I mean, not that it doesn't have its flaws, especially since Oracle took over Java and decided to impose certificates on everyone.
Yep.
But apart from that, I quite like being able to use Java Web Start. I mean, it's quite nice for a multitude of reasons, really. Not least the generic play button that you can just click to get the JNLP file without having to select a native client for your particular operating system and whatnot. And it's just a small, convenient file. But apparently it's going away.
That is going the way of the dodo. So what is the new plan instead?
Yeah, just write our own launcher instead.
And that's what you're working on right
now. I strongly considered using an alternative that seems somewhat popular called GetDown.
Right.
But it seems that too required an explicit installation program to get the client. Not only that, but a operating system specific installer, even though it's Java, which seemed to suck quite a bit. And I haven't found any other alternatives, so it seems I have to write my own one.
So basically, that's what you're working on right now.
Indeed. Well, right now I'm working at trying to debug the new lag problem.
I know.
But
Mogui says this game is what RuneScape should have been, to be honest. This game is way better. Thank you. That's a
Thank you.
nice comment, I suppose.
Not that I've ever played RuneScape.
I've not played it either. Do you have any plans, asks Alisa Pixel, do you have any plans by further developing music instruments? No cheat that will let you play automated songs made via in-game editor or online upload.
Well, I'm really not sure how you'd prevent that. I mean, all you really need to play in-game instruments is a key macro program anyway.
Yep.
So
build it yourself, or he didn't. She didn't want it prevented. She wanted it as an explicit feature.
Oh, I thought you said not that it should be impossible.
No. That was not the point. The point was that should be made an explicit feature.
Oh, I see. I'm not sure I like that.
Oh, look at this. Look at this shit. Someone lost a horse here.
Oh, I see.
Someone exited that mining hole.
Isn't that unfortunate?
And that horse is just standing there, and they can't get that horse away from there. Because they let it out of the dungeon,
yes, I know.
and now they can't.
Well, the cave rather, perhaps.
The cave rather.
That is a bit retarded.
That is a bit retarded. These caves are a bit retarded. They should be looked at for the next world, I think.
Oh, you think? I don't mind them.
I mind that you can't get into them.
I guess, but perhaps that's the problem rather than them existing.
I don't mind them existing, but what I'm saying is maybe that they should like flatten out a little platform ahead of them so that you can actually.
It could also be a matter of the climbing mechanics accommodating getting into them.
Sure. Either way. Don't change them. They make good sally gates. Sally gates?
Sally gates, you say?
Sallying forth is something I'm familiar with. You can exit a fort to attack someone, but I'm not sure what a sally gate is. Make a big horn type thing out of the chasm conch shell. That would actually be awesome. Like a big, like Durin's, grand horn of the deep cave.
That would be more fun if we could have it so that you could hear certain sounds over further distances.
Hey, look, wolvesies.
This would look so awesome if we had actual waterfalls.
Yeah, waterfalls would be badass. That would look really cool. It would also be awesome if the wolves didn't derp up.
And if you didn't derp up.
Yep, that too. How's the rewrite, friendos? Asks handholding degenerate.
Haven't gotten back to that since the reset yet because of the aforementioned reasons.
So that is that. Rowboating up the waterfall like a boss.
Indeed.
I actually enjoyed the wolves a fair bit. I was exploring mountains on my real character the other day, and I found a pack of wolves, or saw them in the distance, and I was like, okay, we're going to take a different route. I like them. I thought they were.
Yeah, I also like the full moon mechanic.
Yeah.
We haven't had a second full moon yet, right?
Probably not. No, I haven't thought about it, but no, probably not. What would be cool about the wolves? One thing I don't like about the animals is that you always see the animals before they see you.
What do you mean by the animals seeing you?
I see them on the minimap before they see me, before they can attack me. Before they never come attack me as a surprise. I'm never surprise attacked by animals.
Yes.
I mean, in real life, boar jumps out at you from nowhere.
Yeah, sure, I guess. I mean, would that be kind of a perception exploration thing, or?
Maybe they could have a cloak. I wouldn't be opposed to hard cloaks for various mechanics, really.
Especially, really, the bugs, actually, they should be kind of herb-like.
Yeah, definitely. And smaller animals and stuff should definitely have a perception exploration requirement. I wouldn't mind that at all.
That being said, it would perhaps suck a bit for the early game if you couldn't see rabbits and squirrels.
Yeah, I mean, not all of them. They'd have really low.
I'm just saying that it wouldn't exactly be unreasonable if rabbits and squirrels were the kind of things that wouldn't really be immediately
Kenshi Rob says that custom clients would make animals visible back again, so you should.
Not if they work like herbs.
Not like if they work like herbs. In-game religions when? Make your own religion, man.
Well, I mean, we have spoken about this.
Yeah, sure.
About quest givers.
Sure. We have a long-term feature that we want to add, like where you can build quest givers up into local deities and have them increase in power and be more relevant for questing and whatnot. Generally, like develop more of a personality and all that jazz.
Exactly.
We're coming up on 2 hours, so it's only 3 minutes left until we have done this for 2 hours.
I see.
So if you guys have any awesome final questions, then feel free to shoot away. Otherwise, I'm thinking we're probably gonna start to round it off. This has been a really awesome world reset.
Yes, definitely.
We hit all the marks we wanted to hit tonight, and this, it's been really good financially, player-wise. It's been really.
It's certainly the first time we've had more than 1,600 players.
Yeah, I really felt that it gave the game a new breath of life and everything, and I felt that the player numbers have been reasonably high throughout the month.
Indeed.
And continued to be reasonably high. So
I don't think there's any world reset where we've had like more than 1,000 players every day for over a month.
Yeah. So what is your stance on making satiations less RNG and cyclable again? I wouldn't want to make them cyclable again.
I wouldn't make them cyclable for sure.
But less RNG I could get behind.
I kind of like the RNG element though. I think there's a case to be made for not being able to, in advance, plot out a perfect satiation puzzle.
Maybe. Luke says, last try, XD, broken leg wounds. When like falling from a cliff or something like that.
Yes, I mean I don't really understand why we still haven't added any jumping restrictions to Regis.
Yeah. I have people here serenading me with a flute and a lute.
I see.
I'll dance, crowdy dance. Oh, sorry. Give me that thing again. Give me that thing again. Give me that flute again, lady, or whatever it was you want to give me. Let us craft bollocks into a skin flute. You funny, sir. Yeah, no, this has been an awesome world reset, and yeah, thank you everyone for making it all for being part of it and making all the fun that we've had with it and thus far, and we'll continue to have over the coming months, years, whatever it will turn out to be. We don't really know that yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have a couple of developments coming down the pipe. I'm kind of excited about doing something about seasons, so I'll leave that as a hint for future developments. We should arguably cut our teeth on something slightly bigger.
Yes, I think so too.
There have been a couple of small patches now where we've been doing some like fire extinguishing type patches, and honestly, really good feedback generally on the new world, I think, and really not a whole lot of like there are some issues, there are some complaints as usual, but like generally I think the feedback and everything has been positive.
Indeed. That has been my feeling too.
It's been a lot of fun.
Very nice.
All right, let's call it a night there, guys. I really enjoyed this. This was a lot of fun. We're gonna try to keep the stream schedule going on, and we'll try to have more of L-Dog here with us. And yeah, this has been a lot of fun. So thank you all, guys, for being awesome, for making the World 11 release all that it was, and for all your
keeping
support.
the world alive.
Yeah, keeping the world alive and all of that jazz. Thank you so much, guys. Yeah, I don't have much else to say. Just stay safe out in there.
In there and out there.
In there and out there, and I'll catch you all for the March stream in approximately a month. I'll try to announce it a little bit earlier, or a little bit, ahead of time. I always say that, never deliver, but nevertheless. So, God bless. Thank you all. Have a good Thursday night. What's left of it, and yeah, see you in March. Have a good the rest of World 11 and everything. Take care, guys. I love you so much. We'll consider.